You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion new single, my hater, the big better put on the road, I just spit. I know we got $1 million, the devil, that shit, and I cheap it again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the fourth part of, What If Naruto Enters Futurama? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of KFB Anime 87 and Thanatos 125 on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the authors too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Planet Express. 2 weeks after Omicron Persei 8 treaty signing. 2 weeks had gone by after the treaty between Earth and Omicron Persei 8 was signed thanks to Naruto and co-introducing them to streaming services so they could watch Single Female Lawyer and many other programs. One Piece being the biggest hit with the planet. Currently however Naruto was in the break room working on his business class paper with Amy doing her own coursework. Leela was currently cleaning the ship. And Bender was sitting on the couch watching All My Circuits. Ugh, I'm getting a headache from this, Naruto said as he looked over his paper. Try my paper. I'm writing a whole paper on gravitational effects to different species on different planets depending on the amount of gravitational pull, Amy said with a sigh. Huh. I didn't know you had a smart one on your F squad, Bender said as he finished his beer. Oh, I'm gonna kick your butt you little dash, Amy was growling out before Naruto placed a hand on her hand. Ignore him. He's just trying to rile you up so he can collect on an injury on the job, Naruto said as he rolled his eyes. Sell out. Bender yelled. I fund the place, remember? How am I a sellout for protecting my money? Naruto asked with a scoff. Plus you can just ask your sugar mama for money, Amy pointed out to Bender referring to Fanny the former Don Bot's wife and Bender's Robo HRM Top B. Do I look like some kind of Robo GGL? Bender asked with a scoff. What did you do this time? Naruto asked flatly knowing that Bender had to have done something if he wasn't getting money from his mafia funds. I told her I would take her out on a date to a high-class place but I don't have any real connections. She cut me off from SEC and money till I find a place to take her. Those are two of my favorite things, damn it. Bender groaned. How's she feel about Mars Vegas? Naruto asked with a smirk at Amy. I don't know, Bender has been on my nerves lately, what's my incentive? Amy asked with a coy smirk. Date night tonight that ends with a dip in a hot tub. Naruto offered. Done. Amy agreed as she smiled at this. Awesome, I'll let her know. Right after All My Circuits, Bender said turning to the TV. All My Circuits will be back after this word from Slurm. It's highly addictive. The TV claimed as it cut to a commercial of a giant worm surfing on a surfboard. Ah, Slurms Mackenzie. And they say there are no more heroes, Bender sighed watching the worm dance along with two bikini girls. He's okay. I'm more interested in his two dancers, Amy said smirking lightly at Naruto. Careful dear, your energy is showing, Naruto chuckled out. Well, we could use a break, wanna go jump Leela? Amy asked with grin as they knew Leela was cleaning the ship. God yes, Naruto said as he needed a distraction. Before they left however the commercial continued. Hey dude. You could win a chance to party with me. Slurms Mackenzie at the Slurm bottling plant on Wormulan. Just look for the golden bottle cap inside specially marked cans of Slurm. Slurms announced as one of his girls showed said bottle cap. No purchase necessary unless you wish to enter the contest. Odds of winning mathematically insignificant, an automated announcer added. A contest, eh? Mathematically insignificant, eh? I'll take those odds. I'll be back later. I have a contest to win. Bender yelled standing up from the couch before leaving through the door. Wasn't Bender supposed to do some heavy lifting for the professor? Naruto asked, watching his friend leave. Do you honestly care? Amy asked with a quirked eyebrow. Nah, not really. Come on, let's go find Leela, Naruto said, smirking as he wrapped an arm around Amy and led her to the hangar. Planet Express ship. Naruto and Amy walked onto the bridge of the ship to find where Leela was. Their question was answered immediately, however, as they saw the one-eyed woman halfway inside of a ventilation with the lower half of her body sticking out. Bender? Is that you? Why is there a box of wallets stashed in here? Leela asked, not seeing who even entered and assuming it was Bender. Bender is stashing things in here now? Amy asked. Are you honestly surprised? Naruto asked, smirking as he and Amy approached Leela. Naruto? Amy? I thought you two were busy working on your papers. Leela asked, still moving around inside the vent. We decided to take a little break and check in on you, Naruto said as he looked at Leela. I'm fine, babe. Oh, come on. He's stashing his booze here too. Leela groaned out as the sound of a box being dragged was heard as Leela started to back up out of the vent. I think you could use a break yourself, Leela, Amy said with a smirk as Naruto grabbed Leela's hips and rubbed his pee-pee against her peach. Really? I swear you two are insatiable, Leela sighed out as she pulled her head out of the vent before she yelled as Naruto smacked her peach. I don't recall you complaining last night. Or the night before that. Or the night before that. Or dash, Naruto was saying with a smirk before Leela cut him off. Point made. So how do you want to do this, boss? Leela asked with a chuckle. You, me, Amy, bedroom. Unless you want to get freaky on the bridge here. I could always PND you in your pilot's chair, Naruto offered. Take me on my seat, boss, Leela purred out as she tossed her hair back a bit. What about the ship's computer? Amy pointed out as Naruto dragged Leela to her pilot's chair and shoved her into it. It's off at the moment. Last thing I want is her posting us to the web for Bender to rake in money off of, Leela assured Amy before Naruto joined her in her seat. To be fair, it would make a killing, Naruto said as he pulled down Leela's pants revealing her lack of underwear. Commando, huh? Naruto asked with a grin. Why wear something that's just gonna get in the way of our inevitable fun? Leela asked, smirking. She's right. It's why my bras are tear away, Amy said, grinning as she started to unzip her sweatsuit. God, I love you too, Naruto grinned as he pulled Leela's tank top over her head revealing her NDE melons and lack of BR. Show me how much you love me, stud, Leela purred as she pulled Naruto close so he was on top of her while Amy pulled his shirt off from behind him and worked his pants off. Pressing her melons into his back. So skip the FRPLY? Naruto asked with a smirk at Leela. How long is your break for? Leela asked as she spread her legs wide open with her back against the chair as her arms grabbed the headrest. Until you CLMX hard enough to soak your chair. You know I love when my girls leak like a waterfall, Naruto said with a grin as he placed his PP against her already wet PP and rubbed against it. Making Leela at his actions. Then skip the FRPLY, stud, Leela told him as Naruto got on top of her and speared his PP inside of her waiting pages. Making the one-eyed woman squeal as his massive PP once more stretched her. As you wish, my dear, Naruto said as he started to move and slam away at Leela's CNT. As he grabbed her melons and started to maul them with his mouth. Ah! So rough. So animalistic. Leela cried out as already her lover was making her go crazy from his ministrations. Amy meanwhile seeing this continued to hug Naruto from behind as her hand snaked around him and started to fondle his ball as he pounded away at Leela. You're really giving it to her. Huh, baby. You must want to empty these big, heavy ball inside her, right? Amy asked with a purr as she blew in his ear. I can't help it, you're both my girls, Naruto grunted out as he pulled away from Leela's melons. I know that. You're like an animal marking his territory when it comes to us. So by all means mark us. Spray that thick load inside of her so all know she's yours, Amy told him with a giggle and grin before she slid around the front and knelt down before him. The Martian woman without any hesitation took one of Naruto's TSTCLS in her mouth and started to lick, kiss, and SCK on it as Naruto continued to PND away at Leela. "You two are so good." Naruto growled out as between Amy's mouth and Leela's PP he was being driven absolutely wild. Having to restrain himself from leaking too soon. "Go ahead, Big Daddy. Don't hold back. Fill me up. I can take it." Leela yelled as her eyes started to roll into the back of her head. His thrusts had been getting more and more wild as Amy started to work her mouth on his ball. Naruto growled as he pulled Leela forward and started to roughly kiss her neck as he reached behind her and gripped her bountiful peach for leverage as he continued to hammer away at her in her seat. "Oh F." Leela squealed. His grip on her peach. His wild thrusts. The depravity of being F in her own captain's chair on her ship. All of it was too intense as she felt her approaching CLMX hit its breaking point. The dam broke as her CNT gushed out a spray of her juices, staining the chair beneath her as well as Naruto's PP, and even Amy was sprayed with some of her leaking juices as she continued eating Naruto's ball. "SHT, that's F hot." Naruto growled, seeing the massive CLMX Leela had from the whole situation before. With a mighty roar he slammed himself fully inside of her and let his own release hit. His PP flooding her TWA with his thick load as Leela's squeals of joy echoed around the bridge of the ship. "Holy SHT, I think you broke her," Amy said wide-eyed seeing Leela's juice-drunk state. Her eye rolled up, her mouth open, her tongue hanging out, her legs still spread as juices gushed out of her CNT onto the chair beneath her as her arms fell limp at her side. "Yeah, and you're next," Naruto grunted out as he pulled out of Leela and looked down at Amy, who quickly scrambled to her feet and backed up a bit. "You want to F me against the window, Big Daddy? Or do you want to take me on the floor like the BIM?" Amy asked with a giggle as she shook her peach to entice him. Naruto grunted as he shoved Amy to the floor onto her hands and knees as he immediately slammed his still hardened PP inside of her peach. "Ah," Amy with a smile of joy as Naruto stretched her out. "I don't want anyone else to see you from the window, so I'll just F you like AB. Sound good?" Naruto asked as he grabbed her hips and started to slam and move away at Amy's jiggling peach with reckless abandon. "Whatever my daddy wants," Amy as she threw her hips back, making her peach clap against his abs. "DMN straight, my dear. You're mine. Leela is mine. The other ladies are mine. I am your MSTR, your daddy, your prince." Naruto grunted out as he slapped Amy's peach after removing one of his hands from her hips, making Amy squeal. "I'm yours, daddy. I'm your F toy. You're B. You own me." Amy yelled with a look of pure pleasure on her face as Naruto slammed away at her peach like beast in heat. "Good girl. Ready to take my load?" Naruto asked with a guttural growl into her ear. "Always am. Anytime. Any place. Whenever you need relief, just pick a hole and unload, daddy." Amy yelled in pure unmitigated bliss as she felt his PP throbbing in her peach. Naruto roared once more as his PP spurted out a large amount of thick, hot SMN into Amy's awaiting peach, flooding her depths as the Martian woman shook and shuddered from the hot seed filling her up. Her eyes rolled up into her head as she fell forward. Face down, peach up as her CNT sprayed her own release of juices onto the floor beneath her. "F, that was good. Hope you two are ready though." "I'm just getting started," Naruto said with a grin of excitement. They had gotten him going and no way was he gonna stop yet. "Leela?" Amy asked, stuttering. "I'm on it," Leela stuttered out as she crawled to Naruto ready to tag in. She immediately screamed as Naruto pounced on her and pushed her to the floor with his PP spearing her peach much like he did to Amy. Their screams, and grunts would be heard throughout the day and night as Naruto went wild on his two lovers. The next day, after Naruto's fun with Leela and Amy in the ship, the entire team was sitting at the meeting table before Bender came inside groaning and holding his stomach. "Bender, you good mon?" Hermes asked, raising an eyebrow at the robot. "I'm sick. I spent all day searching for that stupid bottle cap, but now I don't feel so good," Bender said, groaning before sneezing and making his eyes pop out briefly. "Can robots get sick?" Naruto asked, confused. "Actually, yes. They are susceptible to viruses," Farnsworth explained, getting a flat look from Naruto. "Does that weakness exist for that joke alone?" Naruto asked. "Let me check your temperature," Leela said, placing a hand to Bender's forehead before screaming from the heat coming off of him. Before Farnsworth walked over and opened his compartment. "According to Bender's temperature gauge. Which I suggest you use next time, Leela. Bender's running a fever of 900 degrees, Farnsworth said as he inspected Bender. "Bender mon, lie down," Hermes said, fluffing a pillow on a couch for him. 900 degrees. "No wait, Hermes dash," Naruto was saying, but it was too late as Bender laid down on the couch, which quickly engulfed in flames before the robot slammed onto the ground. "You're paying for that," Hermes said with an annoyed tone. "I'll foot the bill," Naruto said with a sigh as he took out his checkbook. "We should take him to Dr. Zwaberg or Dr. Cahill," Amy suggested as they all went to the medical office. "Medical office. All right, I'll have a look, but I remind you I'm an expert on humans, not robots," Zwaberg said before shining a light in Naruto's eyes. "I'm not Bender Zwaberg, can you take a look at him please, Lauren?" Naruto said flatly before turning to Lauren. Well, I'm not an expert with robots, but I did take a course on how to troubleshoot and find out what is wrong with robots," Lauren said before bringing a stethoscope to Bender's chest compartment to hear something rattling inside. "Find something?" Naruto asked as Lauren raised an eyebrow at what she heard. "Something is rattling around inside him. Could be causing all this," Lauren said as she arrowed away her stethoscope. "More importantly, it's a flimsy pretext to try out my latest invention." "To the laboratory," Farnsworth said as he slowly started to walk to his lab with everyone walking ahead of him. "Laboratory. I call this the F-ray. It's like an X-ray but allows you to see through anything. Even metal. Now the neutrino beam it emits is a tad dangerous, so you'll all need protective goggles," Farnsworth said, holding up what looked like a flashlight and pointing to a table with goggles. "That's not a red flag," Naruto said as he grabbed a pair of goggles along with the others while the professor put on a full hazmat suit. "Now you may feel a stinging sensation, all of you," Farnsworth said, looking at the group before shining the beam at Bender and showing his internal components. Showing a watch stuck between two gears causing them not to turn. "Hey! That's my watch!" Amy yelled as she approached Bender while rolling up her sleeves. "Hold on, Amy, use this," Leela said as she stopped her friend before handing her a big wrench. "Oh hell yes, get over here!" Amy yelled with a savage grin before Bender moved his arm into his mouth and removed the watch and handed it back to Amy. "Hey, I feel much better." "And Amy, sorry for taking your watch," Bender told her and offered a hug. Which she responded by slamming him in the leg with the wrench. "Sleep with one eye open tonight," Amy warned him before walking out with the others, leaving only Farnsworth and Bender in the lab. Days later. A few days later, Naruto and the other employees watched as Bender was using the professor's F-ray to scan Slurm can after Slurm can. "Geez, Bender mon, how much Slurm did you buy?" Hermes asked. "Who said I bought these?" Bender asked as he threw another can across the room. "He's got you there," Naruto said with a chuckle at this as he knew that Bender wasn't one to actually pay. "You do know you could have just scanned them without stealing them, right?" Leela asked, raising an eyebrow at this. "Yeah, but I have a reputation to keep, damn it," Bender exclaimed as he threw another can across the room. "How many cans of that CRP have you even looked at?" Lauren asked. "So many cans. I won a bunch of other prizes, just not the stupid winning bottle cap. I'm beginning to think it's all a lie, Bender groaned. You checked every can you stole, right? What about the ones in the break room fridge? Amy asked the robot curiously. We have slurm in the fridge? Bender asked, looking at the Martian. I figured I'd buy a couple of cases for anyone who wanted some to keep the fridge stocked, Leela said as she wanted to do a small thing for the other employees even though she wasn't a fan of slurm. I'll be right back, Bender said before walking into the break room. Silence followed for a few moments before Bender came rushing back in. Oh your god. I won. We're gonna party on Wormulan, baby. Bender yelled, holding a bottle cap. Okay, I didn't expect that, Leela admitted as she blinked in surprise. Must be from the case I grabbed when I was shopping with you, Naruto said as she chuckled. Uzumaki luck strikes again, huh babe? Amy asked with a grin. I guess so, don't tell your parents or they'll ban me from their Mars casino. Naruto said with a chuckle as he meant it in jest. Please, I want him to be surprised, Amy said as she smirked, knowing when they finally went to Mars Casino Naruto would most likely break the place. Naruto lightly chuckled at this as he had to admit it was a funny idea for a prank. Alright meat bags. Get to packing. We're going to Wormulan. Bender demanded. A day later. Planet Wormulan. The Planet Express ship landed on the Slurm Factory's planet as a group of giant worms with trumpets greeted the entire crew, including the Amazonians, Swaberg, Cahill, hell even Scruffy, with fanfare. Everyone watched as the gates opened and a long carpet rolled out with a worm alien in a purple suit and top hat holding a cane. Welcome to the planet Wormulan. I'm Glurmo, your gollerific guide to the splintacular Slurm Factory. The worm named Glurmo greeted them with a bow. Is it just me, or is that worm ripping of Willy Wonka? Naruto asked Leela. We don't mention that name. Not after the 2777 candy riots by the cult of Wonka, Farnsworth said. My generation failed, Naruto said with a sigh at this. Do we get free drinks yet? Thog asked. You'll get all the slurm you can drink Latero on when partying with my good friend Slurms Mackenzie, Glurmo said. Pointing to the worn alien with his two bikini-clad ladies. One with black hair tied into twin tails with dark skin wearing a pink bikini with E-cup melons, a curvy body, and a round peach. The other a Caucasian woman with long blonde hair and thick pink lips in a pink bikini with a curvy body, E-cup melons, and a heart-shaped peach. These two are Dixie and Trixie. Slurms Mackenzie's bikini-clad assistants for his advertisements. DMN the things I'd do to them, Naruto muttered as he looked at the attractive women before getting looks from Leela, Amy, and Lauren. I said that out loud, didn't I? He asked. Hey, no complaints from me, babe, Amy said as she laughed a bit at this. Lay some skin on me, dudes. The party, Alan exclaimed, holding out his hand, which Bender high-fived. Wow, the original party worm, Bender said in awe. Now then, let's begin our tour. You'll party with Slurms later. And if he doesn't give you the best DMN party ever, there'll be consequences. Like getting fired. Glurmo told them with a smile as he gazed at Slurms, who shrunk back in fear. Naruto scowled lightly at this before he made a mental note for later. Inside the factory. Welcome my friends to the wondrous world of whimsy that we like to call Slurm Centralized Industrial Fabrication Unit, Glurmo said as a door opened revealing a large room with a Slurm river, trees with Slurm cans growing on them, and a boat on the green drink river. As they approached the boat they saw little orange men with green hair carrying Slurm barrels to a room. Oh wow, the ripping off is shameless at this point, Naruto said with a flat tone of voice at this. Who are those horrible orange creatures over there? Farnsworth asked as he looked at the short men. Why, those are the Grunkalunkas. They work here in the Slurm factory, Glurmo said. Tell them I hate them, Farnsworth told the worm alien. Sure thing. Hey, this guy hates you. Glurmo yelled at the Grunkalunkas as the group boarded the boat as it started to float down the river of Slurm. As we sail down the river of Slurm you'll see our mixologists at work. They take 900 of the finest ingredients and a touch of childlike delight and mix it all with glacial spring water from our glacial spring water generator, Glurmo said as he pointed at Grunkalunka jumping up and down with a lever in hand to fill a bucket with water. Naruto raised his hand to say something but Cahill grabbed his arm stopping him. Honey grow up, Cahill said as she knew Naruto was gonna make a comment about the term childlike delight. Oh come on, I'm not that predictable. Am I? Naruto asked. You make crank calls with Bender just for fun, Cahill said flatly. SHT I really am getting predictable, Naruto grumbled. And last of all, we add the secret ingredient that makes Slurm deliciously addicting, Glurmo said as he gestured to a Grunkalunka filling a cauldron with a jar labeled as secret ingredient before another Grunkalunka closed a curtain. What secret ingredient? Ornick asked. It's whatever your imagination wants it to be, Glurmo said with a smile. But what is it really? Lauren asked. That's not for you to know, Glurmo said with narrowed eyes at the busty blonde doctor. Naruto glared at the worm tour guide for that before the worm alien shivered and turned back to the tour. Now over here the Grunkalunkas are inducing Wumpus berries to release their flavor using SNSL massage, Glurmo said gesturing to two Grunkalunkas massaging some purple berries. You call that SNSL? Please Prince here way better at massaging Thog's body before we dash, Thog was saying before Naruto stopped her. Not in public my dear. Please, Naruto said with a sheepish chuckle. Pust. Those berries are the secret ingredient right? Bender asked. No, Glurmo said with a flat tone. You positive? Bender asked. Yes, Glurmo said with an annoyed tone. I'm just asking cause they look kind of secret, Bender said. Enough. There will be no further questions. Glurmo demanded. Why? Naruto asked smirking hoping it pissed off the tour guide. Hey look those Grunkalunkas are starting to sing, Leela said pointing at a group of them. Grunkalunka dunkity-doo. We've got a friendly warning for you. Grunkalunka dunkity-dasis. The secret of Slurms on a need-to-know basis. The Grunkalunkas started to sing. We get it. Bender yelled as he threw an empty can of Slurm at a singing Grunkalunka. Use a full one that will hurt more, Naruto said as he held up said can before Leela poked him in the forehead. And I don't pay you to sing. You just used up your bathroom break. Glurmo yelled at his workers as the boat approached a tunnel. Hard ass, a Grunkalunka grumbled. I heard that. Glurmo yelled before smiling at the group again. Anyways coming up on your right you'll see the Slurm MSTR checking the Slurm for color and bouquet, Glurmo said gesturing to a worm alien with a long white beard dressed like a sommelier. Hey what's behind that door? Leela asked seeing a door with two worm guards with guns guarding it with a keep out sign. Nothing, Glurmo said with narrowed eyes. Is it the secret ingredient? Leela asked curiously. Grunkalunka dunkity ingredient. You should not ask about the secret ingredient. Another group of Grunkalunkas started to sing before one was hit by a full can of Slurm in the face. Nailed him. Bender yelled with a laugh as the full can nailed one of the singing aliens in the head. Nice shot. Naruto laughed as he high-fived Bender. You two are so immature, Leela said with a roll of her eye. Anyways I was just curious cause of the armed guards, Leela said to their tour guide. Grunkalunka dunkity darned guards dash, the remaining Grunkalunkas started to sing before again more cans were thrown at them. Shut the hell up. Bender yelled at them as he threw more cans. What he said. Naruto yelled also throwing cans at them. Later. While Hermes was speaking with Glurmo about the potential of firing staff to hire Grunkalunkas for half the cost, Naruto, Leela, and Lauren went towards the back of the boat to chat out of sight. So what do you two think of this place? Naruto asked them. I think there's something off about this place. So many secrets, clear abuse of the employees. There's something odd here, Lauren admitted with a frown. Yeah, I feel the same. Plus them shamelessly ripping off a classic with the look of this place isn't a good look either. Naruto said as he crossed his arms. Don't forget our tour guide constantly switching from ecstatic to sinister in mere instants from a few statements and questions, Leela said with a frown before they saw Bender come over. Hey meatbags, Bender said as he immediately dove over the side of the boat into the Slurm River without any prompting. Did he just jump overboard? Naruto asked, not believing he had just seen that. Yes, Lauren and Leela said flatly. CRP, Naruto groaned before he threw off his shirt and dove into the Green River after his friend. Bender, what the hell, man? Naruto asked as he swam to his friend. I was bored of the tour. Wanted to see if I could find the secret ingredient and sell it to the highest bidder. Or make my own competing drink brand using it. I think I'll call it Bender's Badass Brew, Bender said with a chuckle before the two suddenly found themselves caught in a nearby whirlpool. Naruto! Lauren yelled as she and Leela dove overboard after them as all four got ate down the whirlpool and landed in a cave with a severe grate under them where the slurm was flowing into. Hey, why is the slurm pouring into a sewer here? Bender asked confused. Doesn't taste like slurm, Lauren admitted as some of it got in her mouth when she swam after them. Something's rotten on the planet Wormulan, Leela said with a frown. Yeah, considering there's a door over there that says real factory and another that says fake factory, Naruto said pointing to the doors. The group approached the door labels fake factory and opened it slightly to take a peek and saw that it was the factory that they have been touring. This all has to do with the secret ingredient, Leela said after shutting the door. You don't think this is like a Soylent Green scenario where the secret ingredient is people, right? Naruto asked. No, you're thinking Soylent Cola, Lauren said. Why is that a thing? Naruto asked baffled before they went to the real factory door and started to walk around. As the group walked down the cave network they saw a light approaching them before they hid behind a rock as two worm aliens on the ceiling slid past their location on a patrol. I think we're near whatever the ingredient is, Lauren said gesturing to a conveyor belt with slurm cans exiting next to a door that said Slurm Processing Plant. Well, we came this far, may as well see what all the secrecy and SHT is about, Naruto said as they opened the door to see a giant worm alien eating berries while other worm aliens massaged her as her tail produced a green liquid that was squirted into each and every can of slurm on a conveyor belt. Oh, I think I'm gonna be sick, Lauren said with a green face. Oh, what the hell? Naruto yelled while Leela retched. Oh lordy. Bender yelled, also disgusted at this. That's the secret ingredient? Alien worm juice? Lauren asked, heaving a bit as she had just recently drank some. That's the only ingredient in slurm, Leela said, disgusted as the giant worm creature with a crown turned to them and growled, sending its tail in an attempt to crush them only for them all to disperse. You know, when we got on the ship to tour a soda factory, I was not prepared for any of this, Naruto admitted with a shudder before they all ran out of the room dodging laser fire from some guards chasing them until they came across a gorge. This is how I'm gonna die. Really? Lauren asked. I ain't going down without a fight. Come on, you spineless BSTRDS. I'll take you all on. Naruto yelled as he rushed at the two guards chasing them before slamming his elbow into one's arm as he took the ray gun from their now busted limb and fired at the other. The laser blasted into the other guard's head, incinerating them in an instant before Naruto sent a spinning back kick to the first guard, sending him sliding down the gorge to his demise. You know, I could have just stretched to get us across, Bender pointed out. You'd charge us, Lauren said flatly. I'm getting predictable. Damn it, Bender grumbled before they crossed the gorge to try and escape the factory, only to end up back at the slurm processing plant with the slurm queen waiting for them. Your Majesty, I brought the prisoners, Bender said, realizing they were boned and fully willing to sacrifice the others to save himself. Well, my curious friends. You learned the secret of slurm. That concludes the portion of the tour where you stay alive, Glurmo said as he came out from behind the slurm queen. You slugs are disgusting. Lauren yelled out as she was tied up. I'll kill you. Naruto yelled as he ran at Glurmo and kicked his head off. Which in turn made a second smaller Glurmo grow from the severed head and a new head to form on the other Glurmo body. Okay, ray gun it is, Naruto said, bringing out the gun he stole before firing it at the newly formed Glurmo, burning the worm alien to ash. Back off, you bstrds. Naruto yelled before pulling out a second ray gun he stole from the two guards he dispatched earlier and tossed it to Leela. Easy now. We don't need to do anything rash, the smaller Glurmo that still lived said placatingly. F that. You expect me to just let you capture and kill us and SHT cause we found out that slurm leaks from your queen's peach? Naruto yelled. You make such a big deal over nothing. Honey comes from a bee's behind. Milk comes from a cow's behind, the slurm queen pointed out. She's got a point, Bender said after a pause. And we use recycled robots to make our can dash, the slurm queen was saying before Naruto's gun was now in Bender's hand. Death to the meatbag worms. For robot vengeance. Bender yelled as he started to send blast after blast all over the place. Even hitting some of the equipment in the slurm processing plant, which started to light up with flames. No. My slurm factory. The queen yelled in horror at this as the conveyor belt lit up with flames. Works for me, let's go. Naruto yelled as he led Leela and Lauren out while Bender continued shooting up the factory as he covered their backs. Die you bstrds. Die all of you. Bender yelled before his ray gun ran out of ammo and he ran out the cave after the others. As the group ran through the caves, a voice yelling, "Stop right there," cut them off as they saw Slurms Mackenzie, Trixie, and Dixie standing in front of them. I don't mind using my fists, you mother dash, Bender yelled as he rolled up his sleeves. Shoo. Don't draw any more attention. I want you to take me with you, Slurm said as he quieted them down. Really? Lauren asked with a raised eyebrow. I'm partied out. All I want to do is stay home and rent videos and watch M with a few friends. Is that so much to ask? Slurms asked with an exhausted tone. No way. You owe us a night of, hey. Bender was yelling before Leela took the empty ray gun from him and smacked him in the back of the head. It's cool, my company needs a new spokesman anyway and it's less hassle than this CRP, but you need to testify about this company, Naruto said as the ground started to shake with the Slurm Queen burrowing underground and crawling up growling in a rage. Naruto scowled at this as he reached into his pocket and took out what looked like a high-tech grenade. I thought I told you no raiding the professor's lab with Bender, Leela said with a frown at this. Would you rather face that? Naruto said as he pulled the pin on the grenade. Blow her up, Leela said as she really didn't want to fight this thing. I thought so, Naruto said as the queen lunged at him and he threw the grenade into her open mouth which she swallowed. What did you do? The Slurm Queen demanded. I set up your next company business meeting. In hell. Naruto yelled as he led the others down the cave to escape. The Slurm Queen yelled as her stomach started to bulge before she exploded in a shower of green liquid and guts as the cave collapsed on her destroyed remains, blocking off any attempt of pursuit of the fleeing group. Later on the ship. After leaving the planet, the professor had called the commissioner of the Bureau of Soft Drinks, Tobacco, and Firearms, who was now talking to them on video phone. Commissioner, my crew has made a horrific discovery. It seems that Slurm is produced in a colossal worm Heine, the professor said to a man on the screen. Heine, you say? With testimony we can finally outlaw this insidious Slurm, the commissioner said. Well, you have my new employee's testimony, sir, Naruto said as he pushed Slurms forward along with Dixie and Trixie. Understood. Thank you again, the commissioner said before clicking off his screen. Well, that was something, Lauren said with a sigh. It was a waste of time, I got ripped off. Bender yelled, obviously mad. Oh, relax, you got revenge for your fallen robots on an entire planet. That's a good day for you, isn't it? Naruto asked his robot friend. I was promised a party, damn it. Bender yelled, still angry. What if I throw you a party when we get back on Earth? Naruto offered. Well, that sounds good. But there better be plenty of robot hookers. Bender yelled. What about your femme at HRM? Leela asked with a raised eyebrow. What, they can join in with the hookers, Bender said as he shrugged. So, new boss, what do you want us to do? Dixie asked with a raised eyebrow at Naruto. For now we'll head back to Earth and get you three set up for some commercials to advertise the business, but that'll be in few days, as I'm sure you two and Slurms here could use a small break before jumping back into it, Naruto said. Don't worry, he owns an apartment building so you can crash in your own rooms, Leela said as she knew they probably didn't have anywhere to go. As long as I don't have to party 24/7 you can have me do whatever you want. Seriously, you want me to kill someone? Slurms offered. Well, if you're offering dash, Bender said before Thog slammed her fist onto the top of his head. You can relax, this job will feel more like a vacation compared to working for the queen fatass, Naruto said with a smile at the three. Thanks boss, Slurms said with a nod of appreciation. So we overthrew an evil beverage company and got 3 spokespeople for the company. What's next, boss? Amy asked with a smirk. First you stop eyeing Dixie and Trixie like pieces of meat. Seriously, they just got here, Naruto said with a sigh. We don't mind, Trixie admitted as she and Dixie posed. And like you weren't eyeing them either. Lauren said, smirking. I don't even have a response anymore. Let's just get back to Earth, Naruto sighed out as the ship went back towards planet Earth. To finally out to bed the horrors they encountered on Wormulan. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for more crossovers. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and authors KFB Anime 87 and Thanatos 125 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video, till then goodbye.